Live on YouTube.
All right. Welcome to the other morning show. I'm Dimebag Doily.
I'm True Power Smine.
And today is May. I don't know what today's date is, seriously.
18th.
May 18th, 2018.
The year of our Lord.
And, go ahead, man.
All right.
You got something to say.
All right, so today, I'm really pleased and excited to say that we have Judge Joe Brown back on the show again, solo, and we're going to get a lot of information. I just also want to say APM Construction LLC is sponsoring the show today. Area code 314-300-9455 is their phone number. Please give them a phone call for any construction needs in the St. Louis metro area. Also, I want to thank Kim, David, Andrew, Tom, Jonathan, and there is, I should have wrote that down. There's 4 more people. I forgot. But thank you for your donations. Thank you for your donations. But we want to get into the show here.
Hold on, we want to also thank all the new subscribers. Can't forget about the subscribers.
Yeah, absolutely.
All the new subscribers. Thank you, all the ones that's been there since day one.
Awesome.
Even the people that watch the show, they complain. We want to thank you too, because at least you watch.
He wants to thank you. I don't have no time for you.
Hey, I figured you watch the show.
If you're a hater, you
complain. Hey, we gotta show love to the haters
I
too.
get it.
With a swift kick in the air.
We have Judge Brown on the line here today. Judge, you there?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I just want to start off. Elaborate which hanging it was, but they were saying they heard something down in Louisiana as well.
I don't know what's going on in Louisiana. I haven't heard anything about that. What I did report last time was that last year at an NAACP conference for 3 tri-state, that was Oregon, Washington, and Alaska, they were reporting that several black men had been lynched, literally, according to the signs hung around their necks.
Oh my God.
And they found them hanging from trees in the woods or forests up in northern Oregon.
And they didn't, no one was arrested on that, or?
No arrest. That's what they reported to me, but I've Googled it and I haven't found any reference to it at all.
Wow. Okay. Well,
That's the latest news thing,
So, the next question is from 100 Murders. Ask Judge about the Black Panther, Huey Newton and company. Were they government drug pushers during the height of their power?
No, they weren't government anything.
Okay. So they were just...
There are 3 separate parties, really, that came into play. There was one in Los Angeles, one in the Bay Area out of Oakland, and then another in Chicago that were most active, and they got 3 different flavors, actually. They had different circumstances in each of those locations. They were located other places in the country. The problem we had back then, I was the community liaison for the PSU out of UCLA, and the problem that we had back then, everybody was not government infiltration of the Panthers, it was government control of the US organization. That's the group that started this thing, Kwanzaa. That's Ron Karenga, Ron Everett. And they started Kwanzaa in 1966. Had meetings at a park over in Leimert Park off of Crenshaw Boulevard, and I think the purpose is to get black people to talk, because that organization reported to the LAPD, SIS, and to the FBI to judge by peripheral things that were coming out of what they did. So it wasn't the Panthers, it was organizations like us and a few other people that were going around that infiltrated a lot of organizations. There was a lot of that. There was a Louis Tackwood, who was not an informant, but an undercover officer for LAPD. And he insinuated himself in a lot, and he wrote some very interesting books One of them is called Glass House, and the other one is Glass House 2. There's a lot in there about what happened with the Angela Davis situation and how he assisted LAPD and LA County DA Evel Younger, and then State of California Attorney General Evel Younger set up Angela Davis to cover up some gap Ronald Reagan made. He had talked about the University of California being heavily infiltrated by the communists. The LA Times challenged him to find one, and he came up with Angela Davis, who had been a member of a club called the Che La Mumba Club when she was 19. So that was one of these things where everybody says, oh, come on, she's a scholar, and so what?
Right.
But if you read that book, it's some interesting things in there. Those two books.
The name of the book was Glass House?
Glass House, that's what they call the LA County Jail.
Oh, God. All right, and the next question is from Rico86. It's pertaining to cloning. Basically, Dick Gregory said there were two Trump, one in a blue tie and one in a red tie. Is there any validity to that?
I did. You said there were two what now?
There were two Donald Trumps. Apparently, one is in a blue tie, is one Trump, and you see the Trump in a red tie is supposed to be a totally different Trump, as if somehow they cloned the man.
I don't know anything about that.
Gotcha.
That seems interesting.
Yeah, well, that's something that Dick, I actually heard, I remember that interview where Dick Gregory had suggested that, but
Yeah.
I don't have any information
Now
on
just
that.
gonna make me go back and just watch videos of Trump.
If I know Dick Gregory, I think he was being facetious on that.
Yeah, I mean, you just
In other
don't-
words, see, Donald Trump in the red tie is Donald Trump, who is your Republican, and the blue tie, that was Donald Trump, who used to be a staunch Democratic supporter.
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah,
That sums it up
Most
right
people
there.
don't know this. See, like, he helped raise most of the funding that Jesse Jackson got during his 2 runs for president. And there are a lot of black folk around who he helped out economically back in the late 80s and early and mid-90s. See, so he had a different posture back then.
Okay.
There were a number of black folks starting businesses that got financed by him.
So,
I'm not at liberty to mention their names, but I've talked to a few of them.
okay.
Off the record, of course.
Excuse me.
But, so, you was going to ask him about this,
So what's your thoughts on, of course today we got another terrorist attack by a white male in the country decided he was just going to take whatever frustrations and anger out on people at school. And so time and time again these events happen, but we always heard, he's a lone wolf, and this is a single incident, but it's time after time again, it's the same people committing these heinous crimes.
Well, here's what you're getting. Here's my theory on the subject, and it applies to us too, but it comes just the hood in general. It's when you have lack of proper manhood training in the population, then you start getting stuff like this. See, you can go to a fast food place and get a burger. You can go to a fine restaurant and eat a steak. You can go to something like a Cracker Barrel and get bacon and eggs. Or you can have fried chicken, roast chicken. You can have fish. You can eat whatever you want. Humans are the apex predator on the planet, so that means we kill better than anything else on this planet. Lions, tigers, wolves, bear, great white sharks, it doesn't make any difference. We kill better than everything. So when you have that capacity, there's a certain type of socialization and acculturation you have to put in the head of the young male as he's being raised, so he becomes a functional member of society who can control that beast that's inside of him, that predatory beast. and he can be an asset to the community, a man of peace who can become brave and courageous when necessary. But
Right.
you see, when you don't give these boys this man training, they have problems. And one of the first giveaways is they have a problem with bullies. See, nobody tells anyone in school, stand up to the bully and bust him in his mouth. Even if you get two black eyes, at least he knows he doesn't want to get a split lip again. He'll leave you alone.
Right.
That's that McFly thing out of Back to the Future was a good illustration of that. But too many people now, get into this thing where the boys are to be protected from bullies. It's up to the school teachers, the administrators, the police, and the parents, not the kids themselves. So they never grow up getting in touch with their inner man. They are frustrated. They are encouraged to be emotional. They are encouraged to feel entitled. They are encouraged to feel like they need to be protected. So when they get frustrated, they lose control and that beast comes out. Now, we have that problem in the hood because we don't have a lot of men in the hood either. Our inner cities are matriarchs. And you got a bunch of little fly little girls, or not so fly little girls, that are mobbing before they ought to be. They don't even know what it is to be a proper woman, let alone spread appreciation for manhood amongst their sons. If you ask them why they don't want a man around or want to get married, they'll tell you something like, what good is a man for anyway? I don't need one. Well, if you got a boy, how you gonna reason to be a man if you don't know what he's supposed to be good for when he gets grown? See, so we have this problem in society right now because of that. About 55 years ago, maybe a little longer, you started getting this nonsense about raising children improperly put out by a child psychologist, Dr. Spock.
Yes.
It's all about unconditional love, don't spank children and all this other stuff. And then you got put into society at that point an improper way of raising children. Then you got the beta boys who were white guys who just could not make it in the masculine male world that was supposed to be theirs. They were basically nerds and dorks, weebs, or whatever you want to call them.
Bads and weebs.
They didn't like the manhood thing. Then you got the feminists with a capital F who are really upset that they've got two X's instead of an XY set of chromosomes. They won't tell you that, but they are man haters. Then you got the LGBTQ crowd that started developing in the 60s and started making their voices heard, and they don't like the man paradigm anyway. And then you got something really stupid that came out that's just absolutely wrong. In the late 60s, as a reaction to the Vietnam War, you got these people who started saying war is a man thing, so the way to stop war is to raise boys like they're girls. So they grow up with the same kind of emotive patterns as women. And they cry, they shout, they stomp their feet. And when they learned how to express their emotions, they would not be uptight and start going off and doing stuff for duty, honor, country, and obligation, and they would be peaceful. Well, that's exactly the wrong thing to put into the mix, and that's what you have here with these clowns going off in the hood and in the hallway. They are overly emotional. They don't know how to control themselves, and they've been taught by what they see in the media, what they read, what they look at their mothers do, that they likely don't have an effective father around, or the father and the mother are at war with each other, so they go off emoting like girls, and that's not what you need.
Right.
So boys and girls are different. But we have a problem with that. So we bring that on ourselves, whether it's hood or hallway. And by the way, you notice he did not use an AR-15 this time. It was a good old generic shotgun. Last time we talked, I said if somebody wanted to really do some damage, he wouldn't walk in with a .22 caliber rifle. he would walk in with a 12-gauge shotgun, and he could really do some damage.
But that's what he did.
They said
And
they said they found a pressure cooker in there too. So you know what you can put in a pressure cooker? A good old bunch of scraps, nails, bolts, nuts, pellets, BBs. You know.
yeah, and you don't even have to put those in there. The fragmented pressure cooker itself will act just like shrapnel. And you can stuff it full of ammonium nitrate. You can go buy at a lawn and garden store with no ID asked for. And if you know what you're doing, guess what? That's what the military uses as explosive in their artillery shells. Is basically ammonium nitrate fertilizer. Pound for pound, it's 1.5 more times powerful than TNT.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
So we see, and then you had up in Toronto, that guy wiped out almost a dozen people and injured more with a van.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do ban ammonium nitrate. You can't, because everybody puts it in their lawns and gardens. Growing crops, you use that stuff. So it's not really about the weapon. That's only a tool. It's about he who wields the weapon.
Yes.
Fight. That's the problem.
Yes.
And these clowns won't face that because their paradigm that they're set up is a failure. It does not work.
No.
And we're suffering for it.
Yep. You know, if he probably if he would have got a good ass kicking when he was young, he wouldn't even committed this heinous act in the first place.
Or more importantly, you can get it good as learning how to be a man in general.
Right.
It's not just about kicking ass, like the judge says, it's about restraining the beast within all of us. Even the betas have the beast, but they just don't take.
Yeah. But you see, I know people that have killed people, professionally and otherwise. I know people that have played rough sports, boxers, football players, and they tend to be generally peaceful people because there is no would I do it, could I do it. They do it all the time.
Right.
In a controlled situation. Now, that is the important part. When you are a kid and you're 6 years old and somebody 4 messes with you, you smack him across the back of his head and he goes crying. If you mess with somebody 8 or 9, you get smacked across your head. If you mess with somebody in your same grade, you punch it out, see who's dominant.
Right.
Work it out. And then as you grow up, you learn the rules, the rituals, and the protocols. See, men ritualize violence. The mandatory 8 count, Marquis de Queensberry's rules of boxing. You know, the referee in the ring, the referee and the umpire in the games we play. Somebody's 10,000 people flashing at each other with battle axes and spears or shooting at each other, and somebody raises a white flag. Everything stops so they can have the right of parley and talk. Rules of war, Geneva Convention, war crimes. See? We ritualize. But when you get into the girl thing, they have no rules.
Right.
And by the way, those protocols and rituals you learn when you got a proper raising as a boy, they got you into the habit of dealing with other people politely and with certain standards. Now, what's happening now is you find that everybody is rude, discourteous, and everything else to other people. Women get in these positions that are formerly male or masculine positions, and they have problems. It may not be because they are women. It's because they've never learned the protocols about how to not set off an apex predator.
Right.
I mean, for God's sake, to get the proper perspective, if you're sitting there, okay, they got a Banff, Canada, has this famous wolf tour. And what it is you can go out and walk in the woods, and these wolves who are not tame will come up and walk along with you. They'll hang out with you. But they warn you, this is indeed a real live timber wolf, so watch what you do. You know, watch your manners.
Yes.
They're not dogs. So that's the same kind of thing when you're dealing with humans. They're not pet dogs, you know. Humans will bite. You can goad a friendly dog into getting the bite. You can certainly goad humans. And the average human, remember, let's look back at Vietnam, Korea, World War II, World War I, Civil War. You got all of these normal, soon-to-be or would-be heads of households, fathers and grandfathers, uncles and such like, and they did a whole lot of killing in those wars.
Oh, yes.
And they just got taken off the streets at random.
Yeah.
See, so it's in all of us, and it does no one any good when you deny that.
And that's what we're in, a state
Right.
of denial on so many levels in this country. You know, with the racism, with all the, you know, it's just everything. And it's like
Economics.
the only cure I see to this is what they used to refer to as tough love, but on a societal level. You know, you gotta let some of these heroin junkies fall flat on their face so that they can get back up. You gotta let
That's it.
you know, some of these kids, I hate to say it, and it really sound unpopular, but kind of get bullied on the bus or whatever, and then they'll stand up and then punch that kid in the nose, and they'll go on with life, and they'll feel,
That's exactly it.
you know.
The only problem is that these boys don't have any man training at all, and they act like they're little girls, and they want to go pop a cap on somebody for looking cross-eyed at that.
Yeah.
It's hard to do that stuff when you being feminized.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like too. We had a bad thing happen with this civil rights bit too. The country got unafraid of black folk. I heard somebody put it very eloquently. Somebody was trying to go strange on him. They say, "Look, man, let me tell you something. I ain't no Martin Luther King. You go off on me like that, and I'm taking you out.
Right.
Let me get you squared away."
Yeah.
But that's what it should be.
Yeah.
You know, nobody respects nobody on your knees, man.
No.
Yeah,
No.
see, that's what we have put in our souls. Well, what about the civil rights struggle?
Yeah.
No struggle when you're down on your knees and somebody is kicking your ass until they feel guilty
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Getting your butt beat.
Yeah. Yeah, them days are long gone. That shit ain't going down there. They better go get the Gestapo.
And that's what they got working on.
And they SS troopers. Because it ain't going to be that shit, for real.
You know,
And no insult to Martin Luther King. I mean, he was a preacher. He preached that turn your cheek thing. That's what preachers do. But, I mean, that ain't me and a whole lot of other people.
Yeah.
You know?
But just out of curiosity with Martin Luther King, you know, I'm assuming because you actually lived during his day and age, was he the type of Christian, do you think, that believed that Jesus was white? Or do you think he was the type of Christian that believed that Jesus was black?
Let me say this. I wouldn't be able to tell you. Because my state of mind out on the West Coast, that was an irrelevancy to us. See, in other words, we didn't have official segregation. We had actual segregation, but it was nothing for some black kid to bust some white boy in his mouth.
Right.
You know, who got out of line. So we looked at all of that groveling and crumpling up your hat and looking down at the ground. We didn't understand that, and it used to get us mad. White boys would tease you. Yeah, I see some of you guys got your ass kicked this weekend. Yeah. Man, you better watch your step before you get yours kicked.
Tell it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, seriously, this is what the people need to hear. Real.
Yeah.
You know?
So, I mean, you have to understand, I can tell you a difference too. It's getting the same out on the West Coast, but I transplanted from Los Angeles out here in the very early 70s. And I was somewhat weirded out when I found that if you sat at a table with black folk for an hour, say eating lunch, you heard I was blessed, Jesus, or this, that, and the other spoken about 110 times during the hour. Whereas you never heard that on the West Coast. It was, how did you do this, man? What was your program? And you get told. But out here in the South, you'd get told I was blessed.
Right.
I don't want to hear you were blessed. What did you do?
Right.
But you see, now it's spread all across the country.
Well, you know the reason why. It's sort of like with that stolen valor, you know, a guy act like he's a Navy SEAL or whatever. People tend to act like they're so religious, and it gives them some sort of brownie points when we're dealing with other human beings. And that's just whack, because most people can see through that now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, my point was, depending upon whether or not there's a heaven or a hell, getting free was worth going to hell if there was such a place.
Right.
Right.
And
Liberation.
And there's enough scientists and stuff down there, they probably got AC by now anyway.
And then, look at it this way. If you practice being revolutionary up here, maybe you can stage a revolt, take over from the devil.
Yeah. See?
You know, but because what we're dealing with, because a lot of the problems that we're dealing with in this world, especially pertaining to Israel, the Jews, you know, how they get their land back, but apparently the Olmec people in Americas, or the native indigenous people of America, will never get their land back. But the problem with that is a religious root to that whole tree there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these Ashkenazi Jews determined, you know, we're going to fulfill the prophecy of the Bible. If you was one to ever read the Bible, and I know many of our viewers actually read the Bible and whatnot, you know the prophecy in the end days. You know, first, the generation that sees Israel restored will not all go away before Christ returns. So therefore, we're on a time clock. And the clock started ticking 1948 when the UN made, of course, the state of Israel, seized it from Palestine. When, you know, and I had a guy on Special Report on this past Tuesday, Wayne Madison, and he explained to us, which Jewish nation are you going to, you know, restore? The one that was rooted from, like, Egypt to the Red Sea, or the one that was farther up in Assyria, or the one that was closer to Mesopotamia? You know, and then we were talking about the Temple of the Rock over there, all right? And I'm thinking the next big thing that's going to go down, seriously, in the whole wide world, will probably be some terrorist attack on the Temple of the Rock. And the only reason why I'm bringing this up right now at this moment, because I really want to drive home how important religion is still playing, whether you believe it or not. It's still relevant, because there's still a quantitative effect that we all can see. Where every time we see those 52 people that died in the protests over there, that's a effect in this reality. Those are dead people because of this ideology. And then also when you see the people blown up with suicide bombs, you know, or you know, I don't know what the Buddhists are doing or the Hindus are doing, but you know, we certainly know what the Satanists are doing. You know, that's why we have all those missing, you know, what, 50 or 64,000 missing black women and children in this country. You know, you can't tell me some of them ain't ended up in a satanic altar somewhere, being sacrificed and eaten.
Well, you know, that's what happens.
To me,
religion.
The least justifiable cause to kill somebody is religion. I mean, there are a whole lot of other things to be fighting about.
Right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to when it comes to issues of liberation, we can't really put the religious issue, because you know there are some brothers that will not be a part of the situation because they're like, you know, we have to bring the Christianity into this, and then they might not be able to get along with the Muslims, who might not be able to get along with the Seventh-day Adventists, who might not be able to get along with the Scientologists, whoever. Because we're all, you know, when we talk about the people, and I mean all the people, we all come from all different backgrounds. Even though we all share melanation or whatever, we all come from different backgrounds. And at the end of the day, you know, we're all in this together.
I don't mean to cut you off, but it kind of mind boggles me, like, you know, like the people that actually believe in this stuff, which I don't. It's kind of like to me, sometimes I get like it's kind of a mental aspect to it, like something's not right up there, like upstairs.
You're suggesting it's mental illness?
In some shape or form, it could be. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Well, the bottom line is that. What about the Catholics?
Especially with the people, what I'm saying, basically, especially with the people that's trying to actually make, you know, the Book of Revelations actually live out.
Oh, well.
You know, that said group of people is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, this is...
Let me say something about that. What's the sign of the beast?
666.
Now, when is the book of Revelation supposed to have been written?
Oh, what, John of Patmos?
I don't know who read.
Oh man, it was like. Oh my God, I don't know the year right offhand, Judge. I'm sorry about that.
So somewhere a couple of thousand years ago, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, because this.
No, because Jesus is supposed to come back in 2,000 years.
No. Simpler. Think. 666. Those are Arabic numerals.
Oh.
When did they invent them?
Oh.
About 700 A.D.
Yeah.
Oh.
So how can you put 666 using some numbers that haven't been invented yet?
Oh.
There you go.
I just want to repeat
Think about that.
No, just right now.
Yeah, see, there's a lot of stuff it's come on now.
It's trick out. I mean, I know the trickery and the spookiness.
Right.
You know, if I was to come up here to y'all talk about, hey y'all, including you, Judge, you guys got to give me some money, you know, I know there's going to be a solar eclipse, or else I'm going to make the sun disappear. And the sun disappears, and all suddenly you guys are writing me checks, you know.
Right.
I know about the spookiness, you know. And like I've always said, you know, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with these little secret societies and these bobbity boop, at the end of the day, all you're really keeping a secret is some dude in a robe butt fucking you behind the closed doors back there talking about this is the secret to the universe. Please. You know, the secret to the universe is having peace in your own body and mind and your own family. That's peace in the universe. But you can't get that if you're oppressed. You can't get that if you're being lied to, worshiping bullshit, and you cannot get that if you deny the realities of the society in which you live in. We got to get this shit together, folks.
Well, let me put it this way. I'd like to see anybody find anywhere in real history where people have gotten freedom who haven't fought for it.
Right. Exactly. And thousands of lives were lost because of that too. It took that to happen, and it's the same thing. And like when we talk off the earth, when me and True Powers talk off the earth stuff, I tell them all the time. Order to make things legitimately change to benefit everybody, thousands of people will die. In order for that to happen, it's just they're not going to give over power without lives being lost. And at this state right now, everything's going to stay the same because we live in a country full of cowards that they will sacrifice their own offspring so they can keep the iPhone and all this other bullshit. But if you don't thin the herd, you ain't going to have an army to fight back at all.
Let me point something out that is I'm beginning to get fascinated by. Kanye West said slavery was a choice. You know what I'm thinking about, though? First reaction is you want to get angry about it, but then think about it. Just think about all of the people who have died for a cause, or for country, or for anywhere else, or anything else, or for religion. But we couldn't die to be free.
But I think, Judge, it's the manner in which the human being is approached. Like if we throw it to patriotism, we're being invaded by some foreign entity. All right, young men, just get up and charge and die, okay? But if you're being cooped up, you've been, scared out of your wits, beaten in the fucking bush, and then you're brought on ships and shit, there's a whole psychological thing that has to happen before that slavery thing happens that doesn't happen necessarily in, patriotism or jumping into a burning house to save a child or any of those other heroic acts. I mean, at the end of the day, like Darby just said, people are fucking cowards, and you know what? If someone's holding a gun to your head, 9 times out of 10, you're going to say whatever this person wants to hear so he doesn't or she doesn't pull that trigger. Because they don't want to die. But I understand what the judge is saying. Right. Unless you have this passion for, hey, you know what? I'm not going to just live here on my knees. Fuck it, I'd just rather die. If we all said that collectively, then obviously slavery wouldn't have been profitable.
Right.
But I'm telling you, folks, the reality of the people is, deep down, everyone wants to live. Everybody wants to live. That's why I disagree with thinning the herd, because every time we try to thin the herd, it's always the wrong people get thinned out. I wish things could progress naturally.
It's not.
I
It's
get
not.
that. But it can't get that because I
If
truly
you,
believe a lot of
if you,
people haven't heard.
if you look through history, and the judge said it, if you look through history, the only way you get freedom is you gonna have to fight for it. And it's so many people in this country are fucking cowards. Keeping them, bringing them on is a burden. They're useless because, and some of them got offspring, and they will throw their offspring under the bus for their own survival, when it should be the
But you
opposite.
can tie that to the welfare mindset because they're looking at their offspring like another check instead of a promotion at work. You just have another baby.
When you reproduce offspring, it ain't about you no more. And I look at it like this: if you don't have nothing that you're willing to die for, why are you living in the first place? You're wasting energy, space, and all this stuff. You're causing more damage than good. That's why you have to thin the herd for anything to change, you're going to have to thin the herd first. You don't thin the herd, we're all going to die.
Let me interject something here.
Okay.
Some years ago, I had the pleasure of having some extended conversation on special occasion with two young brothers who are somewhat unique. Both of them are lineal descendants of Shaka Zulu.
Oh.
One of them is going to be the new High King of Swaziland and of the Zulu, and the other one is going to be his prime minister when they get their graduate degrees. And they were explaining to me this thing that the Zulu had about how they got where they were. And one of them was a rule that you are not entitled to breed or have children until you have demonstrated your courage. You can't have a woman. You are punished severely by even looking at one if you haven't proven your worth. Now, I always just personally thought it was wrong if you were a slave to do the master the favor of increasing his livestock by breeding with another slave. I can see women getting forced to do that, but to me, it was just like there should not be as many of us around now as there are, because a whole bunch of us should have died trying to get free. And there's this other thing, too. Have you ever been to Jamaica, man?
No.
You should go to Jamaica, man. It'd be very fascinating, man. Everything be all right down in Jamaica, man. But you know what? The Jamaicans did not need to be freed. They started a society known as the Maroons. It was a clandestine organization. And they picked up the machete, they picked up the axe, they picked up the knife, they picked up the gun, and they got themselves free. Jamaica was freed of slavery without anybody emancipating anybody.
Right.
And that's right down there, right off the coast.
Both of those, even Haiti and their revolution.
Yeah, Toussaint Louverture. He led the revolution for the Haitians to get free. So what happened to us?
I mean, do you think, Judge, that's kind of like why maybe Africans and other, population of folks look at us like we're punks almost? The American black?
That's it. That's exactly it.
Yep.
I'll tell you something you should see. In New York City, Manhattan, everybody is that are black, they're Caribbean American. They're African Caribbean, all right?
Right.
They are not African American. You know why? Because white people have respect for the people in Jamaica and in the Bahamas. You go down there, and let's say some rich white folk decide to take a business conference trip down there. Well, when they need to play a golf game, the fourth is the bank executive, and he's black, and they got all their money hidden up in that bank. See, or the chief of police is black, or the governor general of the island is black, or the prime minister is black. See, there's a stigma attached to American blacks because even after Africa, they went through their thing about overthrowing colonialism.
Yep.
The Jamaicans, they had the Maroons, they got free. Same with the Bahamas. What did we do? We had to have Master Lincoln and the 13th Amendment.
Which
It's
doesn't
embarrassing.
even totally eliminate slavery, because it is okay as a form of punishment.
Yeah, the 13th Amendment says there shall be no slavery nor involuntary servitude except upon due process of law is a punishment for a criminal offense.
Right.
And some of these folk are about to get a rude awakening when somebody in one of these legislative bodies that is about to be unmajority weighted are going to say, why don't we just put them back in slavery? We got so many of them in the jailhouse. Sell them.
Yep. And they are. They're selling them to private prisons.
Yep.
In a way.
Well,
speaking.
they do in a way, but at least that status is not an official punishment.
So, Judge, legally, let's say a prisoner, you tried them, you sent them to life to prison. And let's say at this point in time in American society, we actually microchip prisoners. At the point of custody or intake, would that individual still have the right to say, hey, you cannot implant this into my body?
No, basically, it's power. He's stuck in an institution where they can come in, 15 of them with mattresses, tear gas, render him unconscious, and ship him where he can't get to it.
Whoa.
Yep.
So how would so you can use you're a Christian, like I heard that if you're Muslim, they'll serve you a special diet in prison or whatever. So if you say you're a Christian, you still get the chip no matter what.
Yeah, well, yeah, but see, that whole thing about that Christian bit, about the only way people can get by in the penitentiary is to be a member of a gang or a clique like that, or be part of the Nation of Islam.
Right. Right.
Now,
so you got to join one of those.
about the only religious institution, I mean, I'm trying to be frank here, that can be counted on to do something is the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, historically.
And, like various communities around the country, somebody's going out and kidnapping little girls on the way home from school. The nation gets the FOI together and they get people out there patrolling, and it stops. Somebody's going around playing freak on kids, they get out there and patrol, and it stops.
Oh, yeah. I heard over in East St. Louis back in the day when the nation was kind of strong over there. Say a guy was over there, slanging drugs or whatever. They'll just beat him down, and it'll be the end of that in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
They have done a lot of good, even though they get such a negative spin, because everyone, they try to make them look all bad and that. No, they're really good, decent folks. They just want to make sure that their personal community is protected, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but have you noticed how this system tries to make everything that's actually functional for black folks bad?
Yes. But then gangster rap, though, they'll pump that shit through the roof.
Well, see, the gangster rap is interesting. That's because it sells. And you know why it sells all around the world?
Why?
Because young men all around the world are coming up with the same problems we have here, a lack of masculine ideation. So you see the hip-hop gangster rap video, and it looks like the men are in charge. Now, actually, what you're looking at is matriarchy. Yeah. The girls all say, they have these sexual fantasies, these half-dressed women bouncing around provocatively. No, that's not a sexual fantasy. That's what their mamas and grandmamas look like. If you found mama and grandmama in July sitting on the back stoop in the project, she had a 40-ounce in one hand, a joint or a cigarette in the other, her hair all over her head. She had on some booty shorts with her butt cheeks out, and a tube top or a halter trying to get laid because she's fitting into the new environment. The more babies you have, the better you get a check, better your check is.
And that's the reality.
Yep.
Instead of
you know what that else is too? The inner city is an awful lot like a plantation. They just don't, well, it's unfortunate, but the Negroes have no crop to pick in the plantation now.
You
Yeah.
know, me and C.I. was talking about this prior to the show, you know, and he brought up, you know, how Hitler basically decimated the character of the Jew, you know, the European Jew, that is, prior to World War II. Don't you kind of see the same things happening with us over
Exactly.
a greater period of time?
And there's an interesting thing. There's a guy named Conrad. Well, he's dead now. His name was Conrad Lorenz. He was Jewish and he fled from the Nazis before World War II, and he was a behavioral psychologist, and he studied animal behavior, and then he got interested in another thing over here in America, which was fascinating. He noted that all through his lifetime, the French couldn't stand the Germans couldn't stand the French, nobody could stand the English, then somebody could stand the English, and everybody had boogeymen, but they were outside. So his theory was that release displaced a lot of interpersonal hostility and aggression, so the people could act more cohesively.
Mm-hmm.
He remarked that America had its own internal boogeymen, the Negro. He said it is, at that time I think America had 130 million people. He said you could take 30 million of them and make them scapegoats, even if only vicariously so. And you would have more effective cohesion and product from the 100 million that got a chance to release their frustrations and aggressions by scapegoating us than if you tried to make everybody equal in this thing. So one of the problems that we are having right now still is that we still serve a vital function for America. We are the outlet for when they have high stress.
Yes.
They can blame us.
Mm-hmm. It's like, it was so horrible, like when Ferguson was going down. You know, it's like all you heard was, well, nothing about the people, but, oh my God, the property. How could they destroy their own neighborhoods and all this nonsense? And for one, these people don't understand who are saying this is not their neighborhood. In order for that to be...
their neighborhood.
Yeah, they just... Yeah. And it's like, you get people who don't really understand the culture, policing the culture is a very bad thing. And then that kind of leads me into that show, the 75th, about the New York cop, Michael Dow, up there, that was, corrupted in the 80s and was robbing dope dealers and all this. And you think about it, if you was a poor white boy coming from a rural area, and you're thinking, I'm going to go up there to be a city cop, and we all know there's only 3 types of cops. What type of cops are there?
It's the cop that actually wants to make a difference. He don't last on the force. He gets weed out during the probationary period. It's the 9-to-5er, and then it's the career cop. The 9-to-5er just goes to work, keeps his head down, don't say nothing. The career cop, on the first day out of training, when he leaves the academy and on the force, the first thing he do is start collecting evidence on all the other cops, so when he get caught doing his crooked stuff, nobody's going to say nothing because he got enough evidence to take everybody else down with him.
Yeah. And then there's another thing, too, about this whole thing. Give me liberty or give me death. I regret that I have but one life to give for my country. I have not yet begun to fight. Better dead than red.
Mm.
See, these kind of sentiments that your oppressor has, and we go around, everything's too precious to lose because we have so little. Our lives are suspect anyway because it's so easy to get killed where we live.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we're so worried about it. But see, I tweet, and one woman made an interesting reply to something. She said, when I was listening to this, reading this exchange on this thread, she said, I thought about a story that I'd seen, and they were out Nazi hunting. And they found the Nazi, and he was a doctor, and one of them got sick, but the doctor treated him. And they got to discussing the situation about Hitler killing these Jews. And the doctor remarked, he said, if just one Jew, before they took him into the gas chamber, decided to raise hell and kill 1 or 2 Nazis, he might have saved a couple of 100 Jews in the long run. He was going to die anyway. Why not?
Mm. Yeah.
And that's what we never understood.
Yep.
We never. We had a bunch of us that did, but we didn't have enough. See, that's the difference. You're always going to have people who will do the right thing, but the nature of the community depends upon how many you have that'll do the right thing.
Yeah, numbers.
Yep. And so a lot of people don't want to do the right thing because they scared.
And then another thing that I run into is I have so many arguments with women. I want my son to be safe. I'm telling him, don't get involved in anything. Just watch your own business and, get your own. Woman, don't tell him that.
Yeah, that's not functional.
Yeah.
Like, that's awful. But I love my son. No, you don't. Because look at the Spartan mother.
Yeah.
What does history say? They told their sons, come back with your shield or on it, do or die.
Right.
Right. Instead of being a little, like, Arrested Development, little running nose punk at, 35,
Right.
Her mom runs out there, okay, baby. Because that 35-year-old, like I said, even though most people are like, it'll never happen, but it could. If we ever got invaded, a real ground situation, I really see most of these guys, the trannies and all that, just giving up, and even a lot of, not even that, even straight guys, just giving up, a
lot of the gun nuts gonna give up too.
Yeah.
A lot of these guys going around buying all these semi-automatic rifles and all this stuff. When bullets get to flying, and all that stuff, they're gonna drop their weapons and hightail out of there.
Now, this is a kind of weird question, Judge.
But
what
some of them are gonna say it. You know what I really wish would happen? One or two things. Some mad scientist would genetically engineer some large beast with large teeth, large appetite, strong jaws, and bulletproof, and set it free in a neighborhood or in a city or a whole city, and let folks go for it and see if they can not be eaten. And the other thing is one day something lands and says, take me to your leader, and I do not come in peace.
Well, I hate to say, if we ever, if this society here was ever able to go out to outer space, that's how we'll be. Take us to your leader, and we do not come in peace because we're taking your gold, we're taking your woman, we're taking this, we're taking whatever.
And we got this humongous nuke right there.
To say so.
Or else it's gonna be, you fell for the trap. We have a nice tail waiting for you in our zoo. We've been trying to catch some specimens.
And there you have it.
I was going to ask you, and this goes back to the masculinity questions. Do you have any opinions about homosexuals and women serving in combat roles, and specifically the Marine Corps and the 1st Airborne Division of the Army?
I say this. This homosexual thing is nuanced. One of the greatest warriors of all time was Alexander the Great. He certainly was gay. All right?
Yeah.
Now, you've got two types of gay folks. Those who want to be the opposite sex and those who can't stand the opposite sex.
Right.
See, a classic homosexual pattern is what you saw with the Gestapo or the SS. Those bad boys. They were fanatics. But this other stuff, see, there's a problem with it. I was reading something a serviceman wrote, and he said it's unfair when we're on these tours, and if we try to fraternize with an American woman, you get disciplined. If you try to fraternize with one of the locals, you get court-martialed, you get sent to Leavenworth. But we can hear these gay boys panting and gasping all night long, and it's like they've got embedded lovers. It ain't fair.
No.
Now, the other thing that I don't approve of, I think it is a sick society that would hazard its women in a combat role unless absolutely necessary.
Correct.
Women are more important for a number of reasons. a lot of which some of the feminists want to tear down as irrelevancies or embarrassments. But they are the mothers, and because of human physiology, human young are more receptive to the mother until they get about 7 going on 8 years old.
Mm-hmm.
They serve a vital function. And see, men are expendable, but women and children are a resource. You know, women and children in the lifeboat first,
Yes.
and now they got stuff where that's supposed to go.
So would we
And
have to
they
let
already have
Jenner
enough-
go first? Would Bruce
What's
Jenner, if we was in an emergency situation and Bruce Jenner was here, would we have to let him go first because he identifies as a woman?
No, at the end of the day,
Hell no.
Bruce Jenner is a dude. You can change your body,
Trying to step the line.
you know, make it, you know.
No, let me tell you what, I mean, he's a good poster child for an ad. Don't do Botox. This is based on Botox. But seriously, what manhood is about is so valuable to the human race, and there are so few boys from whom to select men that we need to get all of the men we can out of this boy pool.
Yes.
Men, actually, since we're talking about women and children in the lifeboat first, men are humanity's lifeboat. And most of the time, you know, the lifeboat isn't needed. But if you get a Titanic moment, you sure as hell need some lifeboats, and they better be good ones, and you need a lot of them.
Yeah.
You better. You know, and don't
But
be playing that
we
music.
don't get that.
No, because we, like you said, because of the denial here, you know, we literally have women, you know, don't hold that damn door open for me, you know, what's wrong? You know, it's not like you're being a misogynist or nothing. You're just showing respect. That's how, if you're respectful of yourself, you want to show respect of others. You know what I mean?
I was going to say a joke.
Yeah,
last night.
exactly. And see, when I first started my show 20 years ago now, I used to get complaints from these lesbians out there about how open doors for women, and they felt insults.
Yeah.
But I said, hell no, I'm not stopping it. If you want to
Yeah.
put a tag around your neck, I'm an L word, I won't open the door for you. But anybody else, I'm not going to ask you. That's your business. I'm going to assume you're a woman, so I'm going to open the door.
No, they can have
No.
one of those L's on their lapel like Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of Scarlet A.
And then you know what is so bad about this whole thing? All of these women that go out and spend so much money and so much time trying to beautify and look attractive to men, and then so many others who go out and get offended if it works.
Yeah. Yeah, because, you know, didn't you know, Judge, those titties
Yeah.
popping out of that blouse was not for you. You know, that fat ass was not for you. You're not supposed to look at it. You're not supposed to acknowledge it.
But they made sure it was visible before they left out of the
because
house.
they never know. You know, that real, you know, Prince Charming,
Yeah.
you know, he could see it, you know, but all you paupers and peasants, it ain't for you.
Well, the thing I'd say about revealing clothes in women is this. Several things. They have a right to do whatever they want to do, as long as they don't get arrested for it, I suppose. But it's like money. As long as you've got legal tender, legal currency of the United States, U.S. currency in your pocket, you're okay. But if you got a bankroll in your pocket, you'd be a damn fool to walk out in the hood and flash it. You'll get hijacked.
Yes, you will. You think they playing?
You got a right, I guess the woman's got a right to dress however she wants, but if she's flashing too much flesh, she may be in the wrong place, and guess what? You'll get hijacked.
Yeah. People gonna look, a guy's gonna naturally look.
Yeah,
I mean,
as long as he's into, you know.
it's just instinct, you know. You see an attractive woman, you gonna look.
But you don't gotta be all creepy about
No,
it.
yeah,
You know, drilling
glance,
shit.
yeah.
You don't gotta do all
Well,
that.
I mean, you know, hey, baby, hey, fine, Red, come on.
Yeah.
Take your phone way then. You don't want me talking to you, so you don't have to act crazy like that.
Yeah, and that's another thing. And that's another thing, Judge. Like on Instagram, you see these chicks and they post these
Oh,
pictures and stuff, And that's fine. It don't really bother me. I know what these women doing. You know, they're looking for attention and all this stuff. But the part that really concerns me is the comments. A lot of these guys, and it's not simple fact that it's guys comment. It's the type of stuff that they saying, and it's like women outnumber us 10-1. There is no reason for any guy that's walking this planet to be drooling and panting and rolling over, playing dead, you know.
Super thirsty.
Yeah, for any female, it makes no sense when it's according to the numbers, it's a abundance of them.
I tell young brothers, I say, look, if you want to talk to a woman, pick the fine. They are used to people being scared of them, so not as many people are talking to
Right.
them.
Right.
The ones that try to talk to them act crazy because they're trying to challenge themselves.
Right.
Let's have a deep conversation with a pretty woman. It's the ordinary ones that'll get you a problem because they got all this attitude.
Yeah.
Because they got all that attention. But see, they don't understand. They're not getting that life bonding attention. They're just getting that weekend attention.
Right.
You know, hey, you got 5 minutes, come over here.
Yeah.
You know, and they got to understand there's a difference. And that only lasts us until, you know, they do hit such a point till the attention just stops altogether.
Yeah.
You know.
And then see, here's the other thing too. Where you hear all this stupid nonsense coming from is there was no daddy around. They got it from their mamas, their grandmamas, and their aunts, and friend girls are the same. All that mistreatment women.
Mm-hmm.
See, all of this stuff about, you know, we got this, hey dog, what's happening? My dog, man. You know where they got that from? Their mothers.
Right.
You know where they got the bitches and hoes and all that from?
Their
Their mothers.
Mm.
Because they heard their mama sitting up there, honey, you know, ain't nothing going, none of them, they all dogs, honey. I hear you, honey. Every one of them a dog. They just want one thing, girl, get all you can out there food.
Mm.
See? And they hear men referred to as dogs, and in the same breath half the time described as not worth the damn.
Right.
Yeah.
So what do you expect a boy to grow up to be if everybody he sees around him that's grown is female and talking like that?
Yeah, he got end up being one of those cats that goes out in the street. Someone brushes up against him. He pulls out the gun. You messing up my shoes. You know, man, I've actually seen cats with their nails done and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But they supposed to be, you know, trill and hard. It's like, what the fuck?
Well, that's because they got busted in the butt too much up in the joints.
Mm. Yeah, because those are the cats that be like, man, you know, I went to this. It's like, you know, you don't even know this guy. Say you're chilling at somebody's house, you just meet, you know, people congregate. And it's like, you don't even solicit this information, and old boy just got to go into how hard prison is and damn near how it, like, made him a real man. And it's like, come on, man, this ain't no TV show.
Right.
You know that you was probably up in there crying the first night,
Yeah.
and when we went to the shower, you know, they probably came at you, and you were like, okay, I'll just take it for the team. And then that's what it was.
Right.
You know, don't want to hear all that, because prison's not a cool place. Any
No.
place that you're a fucking slave is not a cool place to be, people. Period.
And no matter how big and tough you is, when it's about 5, 6, 7 guys holding you down.
Well, you heard about the old girl that got killed by the wiener dogs. You know, little wiener dogs killed old girl, you know. So what can 3, 4 grown men do, you know?
Right.
You done. You know, you better, hopefully they have some Vaseline packages in your little care package, because you're going to need some.
Yeah.
You are. You know, I don't mean to be like that, folks. You know, I don't mean to be gratuitous by no means at all. But this is the point I really want to hit home, man, because we only got one planet, dude, and it's Earth. And it takes us to get the environment right, you know, quit polluting our rivers and our drinking water and all that. But it also takes getting our fucking minds right. Quit being bitches, straight up. You know, suck the shit up. You know, be a real man for fucking sake. If no one ever told you, True Power's telling you straight up right now, stop being a little fucking complaining fucking cunt and be a real motherfucker man. Get your fucking balls, put them in your hands, and say, fuck you world, I'm gonna fucking survive and be somebody. You don't gotta be a fucking subservient little cunt all your fucking life. That's all I want to say.
Amen.
Amen.
But if they do, they won't get their iPhone.
The hell with the iPhone.
Amen.
We need their iPhone.
we need I men and I women up in here. You know, that are about something. That's about the future. Instead of this now. You know, I think that the whole 60s decade really fucked this country up. Live in the moment. Live in the moment.
Generation.
You know, fuck the moment. Live for tomorrow.
Well, you know, the 60s were interesting. I graduated from college by the time the 60s were up. Let me tell you what really went wrong with the 60s. When you were coming of age after World War II, or even before it, if you lived in the country, that was one thing. You lived in the city, nobody asked you where you were going if you were a boy. You left in the morning with your friends in the summer, took your bike or you walked, and you knew to be back before the street lights came on.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody asked you where you're going. You had independence. Now, they got parents playing helicopter. They hover over the kids at all times. They don't develop independence. You had standards. People were preaching to you continuously about how you were supposed to behave or not to behave.
Right.
So you got that put in you. You had fights, and you got confident with what you can do as a person. So you come into adulthood, you're ready to go deal with what you're doing. You know, you had rules. Everybody had to have their shoes shine, pants cleaned and pressed, you know, hair combed, shaved, shirt tucked in. You had standards.
Mm-hmm.
And you had classes you had to take. They didn't coddle you. So when we got grown, you know, we can make choices. Particularly qualified to make choices because you had it already put in you. See,
Right.
We started that stuff about you need to have choices. But you see, some people took it to an extreme. So what happens is when you produce a young man where the child has grown up with that kind of nonsense, what happens is he is not prepared.
Right.
He is not prepared because they haven't had all of these essentials crammed down their throats, whether they wanted it or not. They only had to deal with it if they wanted to, and most kids are only going to deal with what's most fun.
Mm-hmm.
See, like that Montessori method. You know, the kid gets to pick what he wants to study for the day, and if he doesn't feel like it, he doesn't have to. See, that's where a lot goes wrong.
Right.
Now, do you think that's part of the reason why we're having this epidemic of white middle-aged males killing themselves? Like the reality of privilege?
Yeah. And by the way, that's a whole lot of what's going wrong in our neighborhoods, too. When I was a criminal court judge, the statewide recidivism rate for felonies was about 80%. In my courtroom, it was 18. One of the things I did is put together this team of doctors, psychiatrists, and psychologists so we could find out what the devil was going on. Well, one thing we noticed is one of the things that nobody wanted to really talk about drugs is it was not about getting high, it was trying to die. See, drug usage was a form of socially acceptable suicide.
Wow.
Drugs detained another victim in downtown St. Louis today. Police found blah, 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 blah. Not dude hated himself, see, or you could get the other side, you know, they had these problems and they do stuff like, oh, my God, did you hear about Fort George? No, what happened? Oh, he was so distraught, you know. He couldn't figure out any purpose in life, and he just jumped from the 17th floor of his daddy's office building. Oh, my God, how tragic. What we get is, man, you hear about what happened, man? Oh, man, we was over with Stomps, man. And dude, man, he was hitting that glass dick, man. Smoke, man. I'm gonna tell you, man. Dude fell out on the floor, man. Guy rolled all up the back of his head, man. Foam coming all out his mouth, heel kicking, man. We called 911, man, but it's too late. Dude heart bust out so they get it to the emergency room, man. second one is, hey man, ain't that the second one his mama done lost this year? Yeah, man, I hear it is, but man, I hope she don't freak out.
Hopes and prayers.
But there was another type of suicide too. All of these fools going around popping caps on somebody, it wasn't about honor and all of that. Principle, it was about suicidal ideation. Goes this way. Hey man, hey, Stomp, man, check this out, man. Watch this, man. See the dude over there in the blue, man, check this out. Hey man, what you looking at? Hey, fool, you in the blue, I'm talking to you, man. What you looking at? So, you got on blue, fool. What you think I'm talking to? Brother, I guess you just mind your own business, man. Don't tell me what I'm gonna do, man. What you looking at me, man? You strange, man? I just got on my job, man. I ain't got no job, fool. I don't care. You looking at me, check this out, man. Check it out, watch it. All right, man, that's your ass, man. You sit up there gonna disrespect me, man. Staring at me like something wrong with me. Look, man, just go on about your business. I'm trying to get home. I don't want to hear about your damn home, man. Now, man, don't move up on me like that, man. I think you gonna do something. Yeah, man, I'm gonna do something to you. You are, man. Yeah, I'm gonna do something to you right now, fool. All right, you go for it, fool. Boom, boom. You sell the book to you, man. I want a whole book of boom to the premier performance. Boom. I want an encore. Boom in a curtain. Oh, bam. Now your fool self is dead. So he was trying to die.
And he achieved it.
Mm-hmm.
He achieved it. You know, that's similar to, I guess, the suicide by cop. You know, cop pulls you over, you start acting crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Or so they say. I think a lot of that's just execution by cop.
Yeah. But normally them ain't the ones they kill, though. The ones that be really, really trying to die by the cops, they don't kill them. It's the ones that's trying to live.
You know the cops can kill you quickest.
Who?
The scared ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who are out there trying to be cops to prove that they got what it takes. See, that's like, I grew up in South Central, and the one you had to worry out on the streets was the scared one.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one that would pop a cap. Dudes be whooping around. Man, don't be doing it, man. What's wrong with you, fool, man? I'm just talking, man. Man, you, boom!
Yeah.
That's the type of, but that goes back to that not knowing basically your place in this alpha dominant society.
Right.
You don't know, like back in the day when we used to duel and shit. A motherfucker, somebody done slept with somebody's wife or something, all right? Fuck that going on Jerry Springer shit. No, we're going over here to the field and we're going to handle this right here, right now. Well, that shit's all going to the wayside, you know? Now you have all these people looking for creative ways to die because they're so miserable. No one's truly, what does Shakespeare say? Every man dies, but not every man lives. Or something to that effect. All right? And that's so true, man. If I wasn't really living, I wouldn't want to be on here. Peace out.
Well,
See, a lot of stuff was stopped in our neighborhood.
What happened?
I don't know. He should be on it. You there, Judge?
What you have back at you is your chief critic, your chief cheerleader, and
I wish we'd just plug it in hardwired, though. I think it'd be a little stronger. Because you can't hear nothing right now.
He's driving in the car. I can hear him. Did you hear that noise? Not the birds. Judge, are you there?
I mean, you said you hear him. I ain't heard him for a minute, but I don't want to be considered crazy.
Oh, he lost him. He lost the signal. I want to call him back.
Hey, throw me that cord.
It's not the cord, dude. It's not gonna make a difference. He's on his cell phone. We're on his cell phone.
Well, let's just see. I mean, if it ain't gonna make a difference, it ain't gonna hurt nothing.
hello.
Oh, got you back, Judge.
How long was I off?
About like 3 minutes.
Probably not that
I know
long.
what it was. That police had a roadblock up. That's probably what the problem was.
A robot.
And they got another one road blocked off of here.
Is this sobriety checkpoint or
No, they got a whole bunch of police. I mean, this is the second street. They just got a street blocked off, and then anything I guess south of this main street I'm on, they're not letting anybody go off of.
There must have been a shooting or something.
I don't know. 1, 3, 4, 5, and down the other place there were 8. The last cross street too.
Mm. Oh my God!
Maybe that's what cuts off. Sometimes cut off. I'm driving. I had some places to go, so I'm talking while I'm going.
Hey, we appreciate it.
My point was is that if you put manhood or real womanhood in somebody, they've got a self-check guidance system.
Right.
What you see in the morning when you shave, brush your teeth, comb or brush your hair, whatever it may be, that's what guides you. And you have to answer to yourself, did I do the manly thing yesterday? Did I do something that was unmanly?
Right.
And you keep on yourself and you become your worst critic.
Mm-hmm.
So that is something that would help immensely if we could only see our way through to doing that. But, you know, it's all of this softer kind of gentler entitlement stuff. You get the check, and it ain't much, but you got to get some $220 Air Jordan for your kid, so you can hold your head up. I get my kid the best we get. It's only, you know, like he's 11th grade, 5 feet 6. He's supposed to be a basketball player, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Come on now.
You know, what do we tell young people pertaining to how to deal with boule black people who are basically worse than the KKK when they're, as far as dealing with other black folks?
Well, yeah, they are bad. You know, one of the worst problems about it, I've noticed, is in local politics. When you've got some righteous brother trying to do something and the white power structure doesn't like it, and they want to talk about it, you get to a cocktail party and all these Negroes who are bullied, don't even know the man, maybe spoken to him once, you know, in passing. They want to parrot everything they hear on the local news about this guy.
Mm.
And it's bad.
Yeah, I was at a Democratic endorsement meeting earlier this week in Clayton. That's a prominent, rich area. You know, don't know poor people live in Clayton.
Well, the workers.
Yeah,
they don't live there.
They don't live.
Right.
They don't live. I'm talking about people that live there. You know, they just work there and leave. They don't even shop there. They don't do nothing there. But I was at one of the endorsement meetings, and they had all the politicians and stuff, and I seen a lot of that stuff from some of the black folks that was there at that one in Clayton. And immediately you could tell. Instantly. You can tell it was the brother that was, you know, kissing the ass, and then you can tell the brother that actually wanted to, you know, make a difference, but he have said resources, you know, and it was just really kind of sickening from what I experienced.
Well, I just hate how they often would take a righteous person and try to belittle them in front of the white folks or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just so damn damaging. It goes back to what he was talking about, slavery. You know, what you talk about, the coons and the bedwenches coming off the plantation with everybody else.
Yeah.
You know, it's like these people, not only will they not, you know, in any way, shape, form fight white supremacy, but they're like some of their staunchest vanguards of this shit. Even though at the end of the day, if everybody else is wiped out, who do you think they're going to come for at the end? You know, it's like, wow. Well, what the hell are we thinking here, guys and gals? You know,
I know that. You need to tell them that.
I mean, I try to tell them all the time.
I know.
You know?
I get what you're saying.
And it's like, you know, think about it, Judge. You know, since you've been alive, how much money have we spent on the so-called bullshit space program that really hasn't really too much given us anything of real substance? Because we can even argue these cell phones are killing us, especially when they come up with that G5 nonsense and microwave us all to death. But we spent all that money on the space program looking for whatever when they could have, and I think it's fair and probably even legally just, that they could have somehow compensated the descendants of slaves in America some kind of money so that this society could get back together, because we all know they blew up Little Wall Street and they blew up a lot of other small towns.
Okay, may I make this observation? It's a biblical saying, you can feed a man a fish or you can teach him to fish.
Right.
If you want to teach him to fish, you need to give him motivation. If you want to give him motivation, you need to give him a goal, or you need to give him a cause.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I understand what you're saying about the money on the space program, but if it weren't for that program, we wouldn't be talking right now on these devices that we're using.
Correct.
See, like the greatest inventions man has ever come up with come out of war or some kind of coherent program like the space program. The other thing is quite frankly, I'm beginning to start looking around and I'm worrying about, you know what, these folks have screwed up the planet. They may need to have some place where they can try it again.
Mm.
Or if they won't stop screwing up planets, they need to be able to move around a lot. So maybe they can go to another place and then come back and do some, what do they call it, downtown development.
Regentification.
You know it.
Yeah, gentrify the planet after they settle someplace else. The second thing is that there are a whole lot of accidents that can happen to this place that we have nothing to do with.
Yeah.
Tsunamis, massive earthquakes, giant asteroids striking. They've got a star, it's called Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse. It's a huge red star. It's pretty nearby, and they say it's about to go nova.
That's not good.
If it goes nova, and the radiation jets are pointed in the wrong direction,
The gamma
it's
burst.
right. There ain't no more Earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's several light years away. So, there's all kinds of things that might say that let's get some more real estate here. But I see your point. But one thing we need to do is we need to get away from this myth of the almighty private enterprise
Mm-hmm.
and what it's supposed to do and what it does not do. See, we've been sold a bill of goods, and one of the problems that we have in this country right now that's indirectly behind so many of us going to the penitentiary, and that is that this system, unlike every other society that is industrialized, does not have any program to make the blue-collar worker relevant to modern industrial technology and computerization. He's being put out of a job steadily and in an accelerated fashion, and he's getting frustrated, and he needs us more and more to scapegoat, to blame, because his circumstances are so screwed. And that whole thing about going to the penitentiary, the pipeline between schoolhouse and jailhouse has got a lot to do with the fact that there are not enough jobs to go around of the right kind, so you want to cut down your labor force so it does not get glutted. So a good way to do it is pop them in a penitentiary. In the meanwhile, it caused them to get there because they did it themselves by developing inappropriate attitudes, outlooks, lack of education, lack of training and skill, wrong worldview, wrong lifestyle, wrong way of dressing, wrong ideation, getting pregnant too early, too often. Well, that's what happens. And when you do that, you make the impact of the community so chaotic that they cannot behave in a cohesive fashion when it comes to politics.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very vicious circle. And we get right in the middle of it, and we don't think. We believe so much, but we don't think a lot.
Right. Because belief is easy. Thinking actually takes effort.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that a lot.
And then this other thing too, I can appreciate what people are doing, but we need to get away from this thing about relying on the power of prayer for everything and start relying upon personal effort.
Hold on now.
Yes.
Hold on
Thank
now.
you. I'm
Hold
so
on.
glad you
No,
said
hold
that.
on now. We're going to get a lot of blowback from that. You know, we just had a tragedy. Thoughts and prayers. You know, we got to say that. It's almost ritual now.
Prayers do
Well,
not
yeah, I
work.
know, but
That has been
bottom line
scientifically proven.
The religion black folk got taught in slavery was to teach them there's no such thing as free will.
Yeah.
And whatever they do, however they scheme, it won't succeed. But if they pray long enough and hard enough, it'll come to be. See, that's that old thing that white folk got out of when they had that Protestant Reformation. But they taught that old time stuff. You have no free will.
The old time religion.
Yep.
You're a cork floating on the water. The only thing you can do is pray about it. You can do a lot if you concentrate on what you're up to, why you're up to it, get prepared to do it.
I see what you're saying, though. I mean, that mindset is designed, tailor-made for a slave, both mentally and physically.
And black folks still locked in that mind. In that same
a lot
mindset.
of folks are locked in that mindset.
Just pray on it. No, get your ass up and do something about it. That's the only way it's gonna work. You sit down there and pray all day. Nothing's gonna happen. You gotta get your ass up and do something. You don't get up and do nothing, shit ain't gonna happen.
It never does.
And stop giving that damn Christian guy all the fucking praise when you go out and bust your ass and accomplish something. Thank yourself. You the one who did all the work in the first place.
So Joe Osteen should just thank himself? I mean,
basically, it's his con job. It's his scheme.
Well, you know, it's like this too. White people take their religion like it's a contract or an agreement. You see, prayer is a petition. And that's what they used to call it in law, not a petition. They called it a prayer. And what is supposed to happen is basically the way they come at it is, Lord, I have done your work, spread your word, and followed you faithfully. Therefore, you owe me. I am asking for this. That's the same thing the peasant or the commoner did or the lesser baron did when he got in front of the high earl or the duke or the king. He said, I have been your loyal follower, Lord. I have served in your armies. I have served your cause. I am a loyal supporter. I am entitled to this. Please grant me this boon. You know, see, but we go, no, Lord, please, Lord, I've been praying so hard. Lord, please, save.
Yep, all the time. All the time, you see it all the time. Like, even like I just said, like some of the, like when these unarmed black men be getting killed by the cops, and you see like either their moms or their spouses, and when they have a press conference or something, because
typically they always
because the trailer ain't got away with killing somebody, with committing murder, and all they do is, oh, we willing to forgive, and I'm gonna pray to Jesus and all this stuff, and then 2 months later on the news, another person has done it again.
But in between then, Jerome, who gets caught with say an ounce of weed, 30 years stuck in jail, but no forgiveness there. There is slowly.
It gets to a point to where it gets like hideous. It's hideous for people for that stuff to still be going on in 2018. But it happens all the time.
Well, because like we said, it's a part of, like if someone.
These are weak individuals.
I mean, you see a tragedy. I saw it when I looked through the news press of what has happened today, I guess.
Prayers.
Yeah, that was the first one. That was the one with the highest
prayers.
And it's like, how can you really have thoughts on someone you never met or knew? Me, like, being here where I'm at, I never knew none of the victims, I don't. So how can I honestly and sincerely I know you agree with them. Nothing else, I'd be like, I'm sorry for the pain that you guys are feeling, the survivors. That's at least honest.
No, that's code word for we don't give a fuck. Guns gonna still be available, and if your sad kid or something gets shot in the school, tough luck, suck it up. That's what it's code word for.
Well, you know what? I hate to say it, but guns will be fucking readily available because at the end of the day, we need guns to protect us from the next fucking psychopath that decides he's gonna fucking kill somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like I said,
that's exactly right.
yeah,
That's exactly right.
we always gotta focus on tomorrow.
Last time we talked, I said, they're worried about AR-15s. You need to worry about 12 gauge. Old time 12 gauge.
Mm-hmm. And then this thing, if one of these boys really puts a couple things together, they go out and buy a $200-something crossbow or even a compound bow. You know, they somehow get their hands on even a blasting cap or, heaven forbid, a full stick of dynamite. You can doink some car with that while it's moving, and you got a stick of dynamite, kaboom. You know, it's you know, if you want to sit here and think of all the ways a man or woman could kill you, then you better sit here and get yourself in a little bubble, and you better pour concrete all around the bubble, you know.
That's all they're going to do is just get more creative. You take guns away, shit's going to get more creative.
People will start getting poisoned. You know, here, have a sandwich, brother. You know, it's like, oh, I don't feel good, you know.
We'll eat them sandwiches from Larry Snack Shop.
He's putting them
Wait a
down.
minute. That's not going to help you if you got an earthquake and a fissure opens up under your concrete bunker.
Yeah, I forgot about that. See, there's no way to be safe.
Or you get drowned out in a flood.
Yeah.
You're in the wrong place. Or there's a hurricane. Or there's a drought and you starve.
Or a volcano.
Or there's no water.
You know, so do you ever, like, you know, okay, have you ever heard of the story about Pompeo, Italy, where all the people, or not Pompeii, not the one with the volcano, but this happened like in the, like, I think 1912 or so. All the people in this little town saw the Virgin Mary in the sky, and they wrote all the, you know, the Catholic Church said it was a real situation going on. Like, obviously, that couldn't have been in time. We didn't have technology like we have HAARP and all that today. So how did things like this happen? Did, you know, all those people lie? 300,000 people lie? Because, you know, I mean, I don't agree with the Catholics, like, Virgin Mary, you know, is like a goddess or something. That's kind of weird. But, you know, it's like, how do we explain these things? You know, demonic possession. How do we explain these things?
I'll leave that to those who wear those priestly collars.
Yeah, but we have to get them off the boys so they can answer.
I have enough things to worry about besides worrying about the supernatural.
There you go.
Or in mind, I go down to New Orleans, man. I go to Mama de Guess, tells me on to obey man. Obey man, New Orleans things, man. See.
Yeah, we had to get away from that.
A preacher, priest, rabbi, imam, or an obeah man.
I mean
You need to learn about these things. But, you know, boy, there's a lot of stuff going on that kind of occupies my attention a little bit more. So,
43 minutes.
boy, so guys,
Okay.
I got to go.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you, Judge.
Yes, thank you for coming on and sharing with us today.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
Signing off.
All right.
Take care.
There you go,
Hey.
folks. Judge Joe Brown. Drop some
Oh, by the
knowledge.
way,
Huh?
I do tweet. And I'm at Judge Joe Brown TV. That's me, Judge Joe Brown TV. And I understand that Bounce TV, that's an NBC affiliate, is playing reruns. They usually come on for 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday now.
Gotcha.
So there you go, folks.
And also check out We All Be TV, Brother
There
Ron.
you go. All right.
All right.
Yeah.
There you go, boys and girls. Judge Joe Brown.
And I will be putting links down in the below too.
There you go.
But, you know, there's a couple of minutes, you know, where I got a captive audience. You know, the one person on Facebook has been with me.
Mm-hmm.
If we elect not to act on the things we talked about tonight as a society,
You will die.
it's over. It's over.
You
the
will
whole
die.
thing is done.
Your offspring will
Done.
die, their offspring will die,
Well-
and their offspring will not be able to produce offspring, and we all will be extinct.
I mean, I'm just saying, you know, we're all going to die anyhow. That's a foregone conclusion.
And
But
so will your
how do
legacy.
you choose to live is my question. How do you choose to live? I'm True Powers Mind.
I'm Don Bagdell. He's nicer than me when it comes down to stuff like this.
This was the other morning show.
Peace, and I'm out.
All right.